everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Erin Campbell.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Reuben Bressler.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
Hey, y'all. I hope you got... Look, the weather's really nice. Keeps your windows down.
It is
actually
nice. I have all the windows in my apartment open. I am dying.
It's finally cool out here in Southern California, and I'm loving it.
Yes, yeah. It is absolutely terrific. So we also kick it off with our first pick and giveaway. $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com is up for grabs. I don't know why I have a problem saying those things. Exclamation mark raffle in the chat for your chance to win. But if you subscribe first, you get two chances. And many people have done so. Subscribe
and they're in this chat right now. I recognize your names.
That's right.
Somebody going to win. A gift certificate, a $50 gift certificate. I can say the words, I promise.
We've given away a lot of $50 gift certificates to Cool Stuff Inc.
Thousands of dollars worth. Thousands and thousands.
Like a lot, yeah.
Like a whole bunch. But this week, it's all about Commander Legends. Like, Wizards is like landing the plane here, right? You have a very awesome, cool, expensive product. Like, have we really recognized how unbelievably huge these sets are? There's 700 freaking cards in this set after all the variants, after all the special foils, after all the commander decks. There's commander decks that have variants that are in the collector boosters and in the regular boosters that aren't even in the set themselves. Like, it's a ton of stuff. Like Soul Ring and stuff is back, all that stuff. There's no Soul Ring to draft, but there's Soul Ring that you can get in the collector boosters because it has a variant. Like, all right, and that's cool.
The cards that, I mean, we aren't talking about any of the money in this set, even in just reprints.
They just like Oops Mana Drain the other day.
They Mana Drain, Rings of Bright Hearth. There's a Vamp Tutor in this set.
Scroll Rack, for God's sake.
3 Wishes in this set.
Yeah, my boyfriend and I are taking a really big step in our relationship, and we are buying a box of Magic together, and this is the box that we are going in on. So I'm really, really excited. I had to remind myself of that today because there was a really sweet card that was previewed, and I was like, I should go to Cool Stuff and see what it's pre-ordering for, and it's like, oh, I don't need to because I have a box.
Wow.
Well, if you don't have your pre-orders in, you should, because product is going to dry up pretty fast. As it does. But yeah, so they're just throwing tons of money in this thing. The foils are really sweet. We're going to talk about some cards just like we did last week. As we finish up spoilers, tomorrow the full spoiler will be released. Oof. And that will be awesome, as we can see the rest of the 300 variants or whatever they've got coming at us. I just like really want to note, like, we have exploded the number of cards that are coming out per year these days. It's absurd.
There's a million cards.
Yes.
Not just printings, but cards
physically
in this
unique.
set.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's nuts. Well, let's talk about my first one here. Nevinyrral Urborg Tyrant.
I'm so happy to see this card.
This is so cool. It's a black, a blue, a white, and 3 generic mana. So 6 mana for a 3/6 rare legendary zombie wizard. It has hexproof from artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. When it enters the battlefield, you create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token for each creature that died this turn. And when it dies, you may pay 1 generic mana. When you do, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments, also known as popping the disc when the Nevinyrral dies.
Yeah, so Nevinyrral's been around since Alpha and was actually named after a person. It was Larry Nevin.
That's right.
And so this is a dog whistle for the veterans, the people who've been playing Magic for a long time. A lot of new players are going to be like, oh, who's this new character? But those of us who've been around for a while, we see that name and we're like, oh my god! And this has been a really long time coming.
Big callback here. Yeah. This is such a weird card. Mm-hmm. Like. It protects hexproof from artifacts, creatures, and enchantments.
Yeah,
there's a very strange line of text.
Like, yeah, it's definitely Larry Niven got sort of his own send up cards for himself because I believe mana came from Larry Niven's novels, something like that.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, so and a bunch of concepts from Magic came from those. So this is putting the lore to that sort of random one-off thing they did in Alpha. You know, Nevinyrral's Disc was one of the cards that like I kind of grew into Magic with. You know, it was one of the first cards people showed showed. They were like, look, check out this card's insane. I'm like, whoa. And then the first question as a new player, I'm like, why would I want to blow up my own stuff? And they're like, oh, no. And then you go to Necropotence and blah, blah, blah. But
I love that they didn't update it for the times, because one of the main pieces of feedback that I see regarding disc is that it doesn't say Planeswalkers. And so I can't tell you how many times a disc has been put on the table during a Commander game and somebody brings that up. And so I'm really surprised that they kept it exactly as the disc, where, nope, this is what it was, and we're not changing that.
That's right. You get to keep your Planeswalkers, which is awesome. All right. Let's move on here to my second card here. Rograkh, son of Rohgahh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my Lord. They made a legendary Kobold, which means it's 0 cost for a red legendary Kobold warrior. It is a 0/1 with First Strike, Menace, Trample, and Partner. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
It's so funny. The day that this card came out, there was a version of Vintage Hollowvine that was red-based, that was running 4 copies of Squee, Goblin Nabob, the Blazing Shoal, and a whole bunch of random expensive red cards to be able to pump your Memnites and your Hollow ones and things like that. And then this card came out that day, and it was like, well, we're not using Memnite anymore, boys.
Because they're using like Fury of the Horde and stuff.
Pyrokinesis, and
Pyrokinesis in there as well to be able to pitch it. So like it's so perfect in that regard. 0 cost mana cards that do like almost anything are always interesting and always kind of scary.
And 0 mana kobolds also harkening back to the good old days when we had Kobolds of Carekeep and all those extra lords. This is a super exciting card. We've never had a 0 mana legendary creature before, much less one that you could play as your commander, much less one with partner. So there's a lot of exciting things to do with Rograkh.
Right, and being able to give this, any sort of equipment goes on top of this guy is super duper fun, and that's awesome.
Can we get Rograkh Summer next summer? You think so? What do you think?
You don't know. You never know. So here comes the next legacy deck. Rograkh. Rograkh. Is that right? I don't know.
We'll take it.
All right.
Well, if you want a name pronounced correctly,
you come to me.
What you do is you get Evan to pronounce it for you.
You come to the source, y'all. Now, listen. This last card, of all of the most hyped things I have ever seen in my life,
things,
I mean, to go from even Urza in modern. What's it called? Horizons, thank you. In Modern Horizons, that thing got like to $100 or so. This freaking card, Jeweled Lotus, is up to $130. This will not last. Mark my words. This is not a $130 card. It is not a $300 foil. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's ridiculous. Let's go over it. It's real simple. It's Black Lotus for your commander. 0 mana. It's a mythic artifact. Tap, sack, add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. They did it. They took a reserve list card and they threw it in commander.
Yeah, I don't get the hype around this card. I mean, it's going to be great in your Muldrotha deck, but I don't think that this is.
Well, no, actually, it's not, and I think that's the important takeaway from this card is that not every deck wants this. I tend to play commanders that require a little bit of setup, and so I can run out a turn 3 Muldrotha, but if I have no graveyard to play with, like, what's the point? And I can run out a Queen Marchesa, but if I don't have the walls up, she's basically defenseless. And so the only commander I personally have that's going to want this is Shirei, because Shirei is such an important part of the deck, and the deck really doesn't play the same without them. So that's really the only commander I might buy this for, and even then, like, I'm not in a hurry to do it. And I think it really depends on like how competitive your commander is, where if you're just going to your local game store with your friends, you probably don't need this. Like, it's fine. And so I encourage people to have those conversations and really ask themselves, like, do I need this, and if so, what deck absolutely needs this? Because not every commander needs to be rushed out there.
Like, I think that this is like a $50 card. I think it's going to be a $50 mythic, just like Urza, like, went back to Earth at one point, and that's great. That's cool. But the idea that this is like breaking commander seems ridiculous. Patrick Chapin came out with an interesting, I guess, unpopular opinion. He says maybe, but he thinks Jeweled Lotus looks like an awesome design, power level wise. From what he's seen, people are overrating it, and I don't think it's even necessarily an automatic include. If Black Lotus was 99% cheaper, if you can get Black Lotuses for $5, I'm not even sure it'd need to be banned. So.
Yeah, I mean, I did see. It's funny because the people I thought that were most critical about this were like the old school commander players. Like, I think BDM wasn't a big fan, and I think Jason Alt had expressed some concern about that. But in terms of like people that aren't maybe as invested in the format or who take it a bit more casually, they were hype. And so it sounds like, that's the audience they're trying to get with this, and it sounds like it's working.
This is also a card that is, as much of this set is, a boon to monocolor and no color commanders.
A lot of good stuff.
A Lotus is a lot better when you're trying to cast, like, for example, this is going to go into my Atali deck, which is a mono red deck. Obviously, it's going to go in there. Not going to go into Arcades.
Right.
Because it doesn't really ramp me
because
well
it's like
to go into colorless cute. Blue, white, green.
Right.
Like,
it's not enough. And it's funny that, and it's sort of like you see Planeswalkers in Commander. Like, they're amazing in constructed formats, but Oko's just like a thing in Commander, like doing whatever over there. It's fine. He's a weirdo. We can take care of him whenever. Like, that's just not a big deal. So sometimes getting a Black Lotus isn't a big deal. Like,
especially when you can't combo with it. Especially when you can't Underworld Breach.
Right. Having lived
go
through
crazy.
So many boom and busts, so many hype cycles for Magic cards. Like, you can't help but be worn down by, like, guys, it's probably not that good. It's looks very exciting.
Fine. Yeah.
Wizards did a damn good job marketing this set with a really cool looking card, and it's probably going to be fine.
It is probably fine. I will say that it does make more games lopsided early, which forces deck building to put things more swords to plowshares like abilities, more terrors.
Good. I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion, but there has been some conversation around the fact that people really wanting to change the perception of Commander, people who feel that not every Commander game should be a 2-hour slugfest, that Commander games should end, and people, right now we have these formulas where I need, 17 ramp cards. Why? Your Commander costs 3. Like, what are you ramping into? And so, I think people are sticking to these formulas, and the games might be suffering for it. And so if this encourages people to rethink deck building, I'm all for it, because right now I think the format's kind of at a crossroads where everyone's just kind of doing it. No one really knows why. And it is a bit of a turnoff. There are people on the outside looking in that go, I like the idea of Commander. I don't want to sit here for 3 hours. And so if this makes us change things, I think it's a good thing.
The last thing I'll say on it is, like, it felt like the Wizards line is, it's okay because it would encourage more direct removal or more direct damage type stuff.
Yeah. And no one really...
And that is a design choice. It's okay that they did that. Like, it's not like that's automatically bad. That's just what they decided to do with this type of card, creating that type of variance. It's just a choice. Anyway, Erin, tell us about your first card.
Yeah, so my first card, I lovingly describe this as what would happen if me and Kendra had a baby. My first choice is Abomination of Llanowar or Llanowar Del Rey. I don't know. So it's a 1 colorless, a black and a green legendary creature, elf horror with vigilance and menace, power and toughness equal to the number of elves you control plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. If you want creepy, you go to Vincent Prose, because this card is terrifying. It's a literal elf ball. It's just this mass of dead elves and living elves. And I have never wanted to build an elf commander deck before, but damn it, the minute this card came out, I immediately took my ass to Scryfall and I typed in black, green, elf, let's do this. And so I'm really excited to play with this. It's probably not the best thing you can do with elves, but damn it, it's weird and I love it.
I'm ready for the elf Katamari going on there. You just kind of roll
I want to do
up.
elf aristocrats. That's the dream. Like, just
there you go.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And this is also a commander that scales well. So you're paying 3 mana. It's probably not gigantic yet, but then when it dies, you get it back. Your graveyard's stocked full of elves now. Now it's a 6/6. Later it's a 10/10. This actually probably scales with the game pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, maybe able to make a ton of mana when you're elves, and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll just rebuy it. Just keep buying it over and over and over, and they just keep dying.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Speaking of things dying, my second card just came out today, in fact, and Seb McKinnon stop this challenge. My second card is Feast of Succession. Feast of Succession. Words are hard. 4 colorless and 2 black for an uncommon sorcery. It says all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn, and you become the monarch. But this art, this art is full of surprises. So you have he talked about what the art direction was for him, and he was told to create a scene where a king and his army get poisoned. And so you see this, and I love all of the tiny details here, where the insignia on the king's robe matches what the knights are wearing. You have the half living looking pig and the dead pig. But what I didn't notice until I saw the larger picture is the black caped arm swiping the crown off the king's head.
It's so good.
Monarch
he
on a
can't
board
keep
wipe.
getting away with it. I don't understand. It's
crazy.
unbelievable how sweet. And the card itself is awesome. Like, the ability to
Card
just
itself's insane.
become the monarch immediately. I think that's fantastic.
On a board wipe.
I'm going to fundamentally have to fundamentally rebuild my Queen Marchesa deck at this point, because there are so many cool monarch cards in this set that I can't fit them all in. Like, I'm going to have to just rebuild it from the ground up.
I mean, we've seen how good cards like Languish, Find Finality, Mutilate, like those are all highly playable cards in many formats. One that immediately draws you a card and can maintain value for the rest of the game because you've wiped the entire board. It probably draws you 2 cards, because unless your opponent has haste or something.
I was seeing someone, kind of complain about, all the commander staples have been printed from the last 2 years or whatever, and I'm like, Wizards of the Coast is a subsidiary of Hasbro Incorporated, and they like to make money and make cards that you want to put in your decks, and if that's what they're doing their job right. If all of these are getting you excited, that's the way it works. Like, that's how we operate. It's just a thing of like, we should play jank forever, and it's like, it's okay if your weirdo casual cards are pushed, like for 12 mana or whatever you're paying for it. Erin, what else you got?
My last card is another character that we've been waiting to hear from for a really, really long time, and actually plays well with the card that originally has his name on it. My last card is Tormod the Desecrator. So Tormod is 3 colorless and a black. These uncommon ones are quite strong. I really like them. Legendary creature, zombie wizard with 4 power and 2 toughness. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token, and it has partners. So this plays really well with Sir Conrad. This could also go in your Muldrotha deck because things are going to be leaving your graveyard. And if you happen to activate a Tormod script, well, you get a 2/2 zombie for doing that. And so this is a really, really cool card, very demented looking art, and I have at least 1 or 2 decks I could squeeze this baby in.
Oh yeah. If you get, what was it, Forever Young, and just put 70 cards on top of your deck.
Forever Young in a Conrad deck is like a burn spell.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty excellent.
That is filthy. But this card is really neat to finally see Tormod themselves, That's
of the
really
Crypt's
sweet.
fame.
All this time, we got to finally see Tormod. That's awesome. All right. Reuben, what you got?
Yeah, I don't know. This set might not be exactly for me. There aren't, like, the cards that I typically like in this. I mean, I've got like a weird 9-mana sorcery, I guess, that lets me cast 1,000,000 cards in red. But the 9-mana sorcery that speaks to me the most is Reshape the Earth. 6 colorless green for a mythic sorcery. Search your library for up to 10 land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library.
What's that, Maze's End?
Listen, Maze's End, Valakut.
Wow.
Valakut. Yeah.
Valakut. If you don't win the game immediately as you reshape the Earth, something has gone horribly wrong. Like, this should, like, you can either do it with Maze's End or Valakut, or I'm sure there's others.
I mean, Dark Depths and Vesuva or whatever.
Sure. I mean, go get your combos. Like, go get your Asperia the Sky Ruin or whatever that
what would
card
you do?
is.
Okay, you would do the Dark Depths and the Vesuva to get it, and you get the Hull the Bandit Lord to give it haste, and then kabam.
Well, we do have to untap all of our lands, of course, so we can play.
Fair.
For example, we could play this card alongside Archelos or Archelos.
There we go.
Lagoon Mystic.
I saw what you did there.
Archelos Lagoon Mystic is a colorless, a black, a green, and a blue for a very good turtle boy. Legendary creature Turtle Shaman.
You love this card.
I love this card. And I got tagged so much because of my turtle cosplay. It's a 2/4 for 4. As long as Archelos Lagoon Mystic is tapped, other permanents enter the battlefield tapped. And as long as Archelos is untapped, other permanents enter the battlefield untapped. So this can combo in a number of ways. First of all, this is the best vehicles commander that's ever been printed, right? Like, you immediately, I mean, obviously Springleaf Drum is also very good with this card, but you power up your Smuggler's Copter, you pop this guy into the dropship, and you go to town. And then everything is under Kismet for your opponents, which is great. Or on your turn, you untap, and then you play Reshape the Earth, or you play, Evolving Wilds, or literally anything, and you get the Amulet of Vigor effect. So there's a ton of great things that you can do with Archelos, and I'm very excited for this card.
Why in the world is this thing on a Bant card? Why?
Yeah,
this is
not
the
being
Bant
white
stuff.
Is very confusing.
Yeah, like of having cards from white that care about things being untapped or tapped. Like what? I don't understand it.
We've seen Kismet in white. Mm-hmm. We've seen lots of Castle being from way back in the day. Yeah. There was some explanation about this from Gavin about why this had to be a Sultai commander. I'm not terribly broken up about it. I do wish it was white instead of black, just for flavor purposes, and also because white needs more help.
Can we just give white an identity for God's sake? Like they just keep taking away. It feels like.
It's funny is when you said turtle boy, I immediately thought of he was a turtle boy. She said you're a turtle boy.
Yep. He wasn't good enough.
You do realize there are kids in the chat that will not know this song.
Of course.
They'll be like, wait.
What are you talking about?
What's going on? Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And the last card I want to talk about is not so much a commander card as it is a pauper card. Now, before the full set came out, Gavin teased a little bit that there was a card that they were a little worried about for pauper, and all of the pauper players immediately figured out that it was Fall from Favor.
Yeah.
Because it costs 3 mana and it makes you the Monarch. That is the extent of what it, and also protects you. So 2 colorless and a blue for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature and you become the Monarch. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step unless that player is the Monarch. So let's say you're a core Skyfisher deck, and you play your turn 1 draw card thing, and then you play your core Skyfisher, and your opponent plays this on their turn 3, immediately draws a card, and now you're just dead because they've drawn 2 cards and tapped your flyer. This card is going to be the death knell of a number of different archetypes. I mean,
well, it's going to hit the format like an asteroid, and they recognize that and they realize that. And if the question is, and this came up on Twitter, if the question was, do you make this uncommon because of pauper, or do you make it common because it's going to work better in the set or the product?
Right,
to me,
the draft environment.
Right, to me, you always make the product better. The format can evolve. The format can change. You can just ban it if it's a serious problem. But that product gets one chance to shine. You get one chance to release this product. And if your draft is worse because this isn't a common instead of uncommon because of random format that mattered at the end of 2020, that's not a good thing to defend.
I don't know. I mean, do we really think that the format is going to be a lot worse if this was an uncommon?
I don't know about that, but I mean, pauper Monarch has already proven to be problematic in pauper to where there has been talk of do we need to ban it or is it oppressive? And I just don't think it helps matters any. Is it going to be the thing? It was already a problem.
Right. Is it probably going to bring more disenchant type effects or more sort of hasty or unblockable creatures because that's how you get the Monarch back? Maybe. That's how that format will react to it. But I 100% expect to have 4 of these in a pauper deck if I'm playing pauper after the set releases on Magic Online.
Yeah,
it's just it's too good not to.
Palace Sentinels is one thing. Thorn of the Duskrose is one thing. Those are 4 mana creatures you can deal with. Right. This is a removal spell in pauper that costs 3 mana. That seems very, very pushed.
And the format's going to react to it, so we'll see what happens. All right, so Commander Legends, full spoiler tomorrow.
The set looks great. The set looks like a ton of fun. I love Monarch. I love Cascade coming back. I love that they've decided to lean into the memes. They've gone crazy.
The 10 mana 10/10 with Cascade,
Cascade. Apex Idiot.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think that Wizards is best when they let their hair down. When you look at the conspiracy sets, or you look at the unstables, that's what we want to see.
Right, and you can have fun with it, and honestly, again, they capped it off with mana drain. They were just here you go, and $150 card. It's cool. It's on us. We appreciate it.
Let's give you a Lotus and a mana drain in a set together.
Exactly.
It's not a real Lotus, but
well, it's pre-selling for $130, which is insane.
The mana drain?
No.
I was going to say. Okay, I was going to say. I'm like, what?
No, but even the Lotus or even the mana drain is up to $150 for the older versions. Okay, let's move over to Gather the Townsfolk. Goodness gracious, Mark Rosewater has been with Wizards 25 years.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I haven't done anything for 25 years.
We've lived.
I was 9 when Mark Rosewater started working at Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. He is responsible for Dredge. A lot of people like to blame Richard Garfield for that, but that was Mark Rosewater's brainchild. So of course I have to, tip my hat to him for that.
I mean, I was 15. Goodness gracious!
I think that the first magazine I ever bought about Magic the Gathering had an article from Mark Rosewater in it. I think the
same is true.
I think Magic the Puzzling was in a Duelist that I bought, which was my first thing I ever bought that wasn't Magic cards, that was Magic related. The game is not the same without him. He is obviously on the Mount Rushmore of Magic the Gathering.
He's like our Willy Wonka.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, no, Gavin's our Willy Wonka because you like the weird outfits and stuff. Yeah.
Right, Gavin can pull it off, but here's like the OG. You know what I'm
Maro's
saying?
the other guy. Remember the guy that was like sneaking around and like
Slugworth? I don't think Maro's Slugworth.
Maro's Slugworth. You take that back. Listen, Mark Rosewater is a cherished institution in this game, and I will not have you besmirch his good name.
The original factory guy?
I don't know.
So, spoiler alert for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Slugworth did, in fact, work for Willy Wonka.
Okay.
And it was shown at the end that him offering to buy the Everlasting Gobstoppers from Charlie was a test to see if Charlie...
he was like the OG.
No, he was just...
I don't think so. Okay. No, Willie was there the whole time.
It's fine. It's fine. It's cute. I was kidding you, crap. But yeah, congratulations to Mark. He did an amazing job getting us here so far.
Yes.
So let's keep rolling.
And he's also a fan of the show. He watched us in Vegas when we had that live show. It's like he knew who we were.
Maro knows who we are. Also recognizes that my impression of him is excellent, just unparalleled.
Fantastic.
Excellence.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I would.
One of these days, he will finally ruin Magic. I appreciate
he'll kill
him for
Magic
trying.
Eventually. He's tried so many times to kill Magic over and over again. So someone has to explain to me how much money did this person win with Red Bull Untapped? Kanzune Kosaka.
Don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
Couldn't
sure.
tell you anything about it.
People
Somebody
told us
in the
about
chat,
this.
perhaps
I can tell you what decks he played. He played Gruul Adventures in Standard, and he played a Sultai Midrange in Historic. And so I am so happy to see Ox of Agonis is seeing play in Standard, which is great. I of course have played that in Modern and Legacy. But the Gruul Adventures deck looks pretty reasonable. Also, that Scavenging Ooze is in here. This looks like a pretty sweet deck.
It's a fine deck. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And then the Historic deck is obviously
Standard looks fine.
Yeah.
Standard looks like it's in a good place.
Yay, Standard's not broken. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know much about this Red Bull stuff. I have the company that runs it locked, and
Right.
So
sure.
It looks like Gruul Aggro, Dimir Rogues, Rakdos Midrange, Teamer Ramp, Yorion.
Great.
There's a lot of stuff that's playable.
That's what you call a nice, healthy format.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you can still play Mono Red if you want to. You can still play... Esper Foretold is like the third best deck in the format right now.
Andrea Mangucci's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's a healthy metagame.
Yeah. And this is what we've wanted. You get rid of the craziness and the silliness and like the Uros of the world, and things start to return to normal.
Well, now we just have to deal with it in older formats where it's like, ugh.
Enjoy that Uro forever. Thanks.
Sorry, friend.
Goodness gracious. Well,
good luck with your older formats that are 2 years old.
Well, congratulations to them regardless. It's a very big event as I understand it. They won a whole bunch of money. Kaladesh Remastered is coming back again.
Yes.
Kaladesh was on Arena during the super early alpha stuff, and then later was at some point sort of eschewed. And then later they said, wait, the program's gone so far, we can't just bring all the old stuff back because everything's different. And so now they said, we're doing Kaladesh Remastered, by God. And they are bringing both Kaladesh sets into one. Pretty much all of the hits that I can tell except Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah.
Smuggler's Copter is notably missing. Thankfully, I appreciate that.
I could have sworn there were some other notables missing.
And there probably are in chat. Feel free to let us know what we're missing here, because I only gave it a cursory glance. But there is Aetherworks Marvel is in there. I don't believe I recall seeing Rogue Refiner.
Angel of Invention is here. That was our previous.
Yeah, I think that Rogue Refiner was not in, but Whirler Virtuoso was.
Right, no cat, but Sahili Rise in there, which makes perfect sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
No Walking Ballista. That was the big one. No Walking Ballista.
Okay.
That was insane.
I'll be be honest with you, I am a little surprised that Magic is going out of their way to put energy into Magic Arena. Like, they could just have as easily have not done that, right?
Sure.
They could have just done Kaladesh Remastered and not put any of the energy cards in. Right?
They didn't have
like
to.
They could have developed that set. They could have brought back, your winding constrictors and all your other fun stuff from Kaladesh, and then just not put Ether Hub and Aetherworks Marble into your
like
format.
it or not, like, energy is what that block is about. And
no attune with Ether. Interesting.
I don't think it worked.
Oh, no, it's in here.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's in the card gallery, at least.
Well,
right, but
in that
ultimately,
case-
all I'm saying is the scaffolding that holds up that entire block is energy. Like it or not like it.
Marvel's in here, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they do have Marvel in there. That is a thing that's going to happen. Maybe they end up banning it. Who knows?
But you can marvel with Ulamog and Historic.
You can.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, have fun with that, y'all.
I get one step closer every time. I'm just like, arena's not broken enough. I'm like the kombucha girl, like, close.
Right. I don't think you can have Kaladesh without energy. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it makes a lot of sense without it.
Bomat Courier.
Yeah, which is great.
Bomat Courier is my jam.
Bomat Courier is a big one. There were multiple charitable events happening this past weekend, which was great. One of them being the event for the Angie Memorial Tournament, which I played in to a rocking 2-3 drop. Hey,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent news.
That was my sweet
This
tournament.
was an event for a beloved judge who passed away from cancer, and this event was to raise money for her children and her family that was left behind. The community raised over $4,000 for Angie's Living Trust during this event. So this was a really, really nice turnout. It took a little while to get going, but once people realized how sweet of a deal it was, they went to go play in it. So that's a good thing. They had good coverage. It was Elliot Raff, who's a judge. Brad Nelson participated as well.
Yeah.
Eric Levine was there. Every time I looked at Twitch, they were in like the top 3 or 5 Magic streams. So
the top 50 got prizes. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't have to have an amazing record to get prizes.
It was a very well put together event with great prize support, excellent coverage, even with the, from what I understand, small snafus. I haven't heard major concerns.
Well, I gotta hand it to a buddy of mine from a long time ago, Jason Flatford, who has been working with Brad Nelson to make MTG Melee work. MTG Melee, this was my first experience with the software. I never actually signed up on the website. I never actually played an event in it. But this one was just too good not to turn down. Plus, it's charitable and stuff, so why not? And it is incredible, the software that they have developed. The software that they develop, once you're in the event, it helps you choose your archetype so it can do the right things for stats and whatnot. Helps you input your deck list. Once you're in there, you don't have to keep refreshing the page or whatever. It automatically shows you who your round X and Y person is. You just click on their name to copy it over. Like, it was really sweet. It actually has it has a voice, it has audio cues for you to know when it's time for your round and whatnot, and when the round's over. You have direct communication with your opponent on the webpage, right there at the very bottom, and direct communication with the organizer right there on the webpage. Like, it is incredible. I gotta hand it to you. This was really, really sweet, and I was impressed. So
0-0 Busy Hands top aided with Rakdos.
Congratulations.
Well done. All right.
I've been hearing about MTG Melee from Jason Flatford since I worked at Star City. Like, they've been working on that project for a long. I remember Matt Thorne talking about this project. That's a name, huh?
I know, right?
From way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Like, one of the other original architects of the SEG tour, essentially.
Yeah.
And this has been a long time coming, and I'm super glad to see it come to fruition and go building alongside Arena beautifully.
Yeah. And speaking of beautiful things, Erin, we got new
Aaron,
babies.
you're beautiful is what Evan
we got
said.
new babies.
Oh my god.
New babies. I'll bring it up on the screen.
I love that I've become like the official aunt of Magic Twitter. So Chris VanMeter and his wife Nicole recently welcomed Vivian Margot VanMeter, which is VMVM, and she's adorable. I believe she's a ginger baby, and these cheeks are massive, and I just want to nibble on her. Like, oh my god.
You need to eat all the part. You eat the ear off. The nose is happening.
The only thing better than a cute baby is a fat baby, and like when they have like those little Michelin
when they're
rolls on
both.
their arms, I can't take it. So we have a listener all the way from Thailand who DM me pictures of their baby who was recently born. And so give me all of your babies. Like somebody DM'd me the other day, so there was the man from Thailand, and then somebody else sent me pictures of their babies in pumpkins. And I was like, God damn it.
Goodness gracious. Well, Chris VanMeter, longtime friend, co-worker at one point.
Just excellent dude. Like
great dude.
I have nothing bad to say about CVM. I've never met anyone who has anything bad to say about CVM. All the best to CVM and Nicole and their new baby VMVM.
Chris was just one of those Chris is one of those cool dudes. He's kind of soft spoken. He's there for you if you need him. He's great. He's good to hang out and chat. He's just a cool dude. I've always really appreciated Chris just being so laid back,
professional, hardworking. Yeah.
Gets it done. Dude's awesome. And obviously, congrats to the fam. So out of nowhere, in the thrift store, comes Dakin Blackblade from God knows when, late 90s, early 2Ks, I guess. For $600, you too could have Dakin Blackblade if you want to go to wherever it is.
8 feet tall.
What?
Listen.
I mean, my
Owner
God.
says it's 200 pounds. Most of that weight is in the base, though. I mean, same.
Same, yeah.
And then about $600 is asking for.
Yeah, plus you got to get it. You got to go. You don't want to ship this thing. It's going to cost you $1 million to ship it. Literally rent a car to go get your Dakin Blackblade statue. That's what we're doing.
So what we're doing is we're buying this, and then we're getting the 5-foot-tall Chandra. The foam Chandra.
Foam Chandra, right with it too.
And we're putting those at the gates to our game store, like it's the gates of Minas Tirith.
There we go.
And welcoming our friends into the game store.
Yeah, so I have it on screen for you guys to look at. It's hard to see that $600 price tag, but it does exist.
Now, the one that exists at Wizards of the Coast, because I'm sure we've all seen it, doesn't have the shield.
Right, this one has the shield.
This one has the shield, so this is a real. This is worth more than $600 to the right collector.
Yeah, this is one of those, it's a steal, but you have to be able to find the person who's looking for it that'll pay the market price.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, you still got to plop down $600 and get it somehow. So, either way.
What a random thing to
just
pop
a
up.
Random,
I love it. I love
thing.
it so much.
Send in support and love to the one and only Ollie Antrazi. He noted his COVID-19, the badness of the world, has come back positive, unfortunately, but we want to obviously wish him a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
So that's great.
A huge percentage of the world is going to end up getting COVID-19 at some point in the next year or two. We are not at a vaccine point yet. You can get it a second time. It is, this is going to be a fact of life for the foreseeable future, honestly.
And I think it's important for the naysayers to see that Ali is a young, good-looking guy, and, this doesn't just happen to old people. This isn't just, you can do everything right, and somehow get this. Magali also had it as well. And so, I certainly don't wish it on anybody, but I think people need to see that it's not just, I think we have this image in our heads of, who's susceptible, and I think we have this image in our heads that, I'm young, I'm fit, I'll be fine. It sounds like it knocked him on his butt. He's still recovering.
I'm desperately wishing people to stay home, please. Mm-hmm. I know it sucks. I assure you it sucks. We all get it. Don't go places. Don't go have parties. House, what are we doing?
I still see people in my local Facebook group advertising drafts and Commander games, and it boggles my mind.
I legitimately don't leave the house to go into other buildings with more than 5 people at a time. I've not been in a room with 10 people since March.
Yeah.
So
it's awful. This is not fun, but at the same time, you can't just be screw it. Everybody's going to get it. They don't all have to get it. You could just be safe.
I think most people see that the survival rate is high.
Yeah,
they don't take into account that it may be a 99% survival rate, but 10 to 15% of those have lasting effects that never go away.
Right, scarring, stuff like that. Things we don't even know about because we haven't had enough time with the virus to really study it that much.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so obviously, Ollie,
get well soon to everyone fighting the virus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's move into Desperate Ravens here because Wizards. Now look. They're bringing Vintage Cube back, but they're doing it with the Supreme Draft version over the holidays versus the Vintage Cube as we have known it for many holiday seasons for years.
Now, what does that
now.
mean exactly? What is Supreme Draft?
This is where you get to pick.
This is the one where you get a new pack.
Yeah, no. You get a whole new pack.
I hate it.
Pick two,
I hate everything about it. I hate Supreme Draft to begin with because I had already blocked it out of my head.
Yeah,
and now you're stealing Christmas from me? How dare you?
Grinch that stole vintage.
It's a little much. I mean, like, come on, guys. You know, like John Finkel always does this really cool, like, Christmas stream where he does the Vintage Cube, which is awesome. Like, it's been a thing for so long where it's like, why did you have to... Can we have traditions? Is there something wrong with that?
Why are you messing with Christmas? Why are you doing that?
Why are you doing... Look, creating a new, like, actual Magic Hall of Fame we can put Rosewater in, good idea. Changing the yearly Vintage Cube, bad idea. Yeah. Stop that. Not a good idea.
Fan of that
was it 2020 could get any worse?
You had to go screw with what works, exactly. Right? Had to go mess with it. We got a couple minutes here. We can talk about some splash damage. Who wants to tackle the Pokimane stuff?
I am happy to tackle that because I think it's super cool, unless Erin wants it.
Both of you, I think,
we'll all talk about it. So Pokimane is if you don't know somehow, is a massive Twitch streamer.
Yes.
Top 10 certainly, probably top 5. Famous for a number of different games. Hearthstone, League of Legends, I think, as well as these days Among Us, has decided that she is going to cap the maximum amount of donations to her stream at $5 and asks her viewers instead to take that money and give it to other streamers who may need it more than she does because she is, of course, not in trouble.
She's doing
okay. Yeah. She's doing all right. Pokimane is extremely on the forefront always when it comes to streaming technology, when it comes to social stuff within Twitch and streaming. She signed a multi-year deal with Twitch earlier in 2020. She was part of the AOC Among Us live stream, for example. And she's always on the forefront when it comes to these new thinking kind of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, this was really fascinating, and her reasons are really sound, too. You know, she mentions that, she is doing quite well, and so she doesn't necessarily need the money. She also mentions the feeling of expectations that come from, when somebody gives you more money than usual, you do feel like you don't want to lose them, or you do feel like you have to kind of answer to them. And, the parasocial relationship between a streamer and a viewer is very much a thing, and large amounts of money can really exacerbate that. I also feel, and I don't think she explicitly said this, but I think especially as a girl, you don't ever want to create the illusion like you're taking advantage of people, because there are still people out there that believe in like booby streamers, or they believe if you're an attractive girl that you just sort of are there to like have people throw money at you. And so, you do feel like you have to be like as above board as possible, because you don't want to feed that image of you, and you don't want to seem like you're making it that stereotype true. And so I think that's also a factor as well, is that, she is a beautiful girl, and I can see some people saying, well, you're just some fake geek girl who's trying to get geeks to throw money at you. And by putting a cap on that, you're like, I'm getting peanuts. I'm not milking this, I'm trying to do the right thing here. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that was also a factor.
Right. We don't have a limit on donations at this time. Patreon.com/MagicMikes. You can support us at any level you see fit.
Or here on Twitch.
Or here on Twitch.
You can also do it on YouTube, although I hear that our YouTubers are mad at us.
I don't think Pokey was the one who tossed her cat. I think that was Alinity.
No, that was Alinity.
Yeah, Alinity's the one that likes to throw animals.
Pokey is an angel baby who can do no wrong.
There you go. Yeah, she's fantastic. And we do have another second here to talk about the fact that Logan Paul, after building up this
somebody who isn't so sweet,
$375,000 deal to open up these packs.
This was so
fake.
weird.
Personal Pokemon advisor.
Yeah. So Logan Paul essentially single-handedly blew up the Pokemon card market. Like, Pokemon cards went through the roof over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Because they decided that it was a thing they were going to do, Martin Shkreli style, and then turns out the right hand of the throne, so to speak, was a a cheater and a thief the whole time. And yeah,
I mean, at Cool Stuff, we have certain people who are over certain games, right? We call those product managers. And so there's a guy who's over Pokemon, right? And I don't keep up with Pokemon, but he does. That's his job.
Yeah,
and so he knew this stuff, and he was like, I knew 2 seconds after seeing that box, I knew it was fake.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, no one who knows Pokemon was around Logan Paul who could tell him this is obviously clearly fake.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there was no Wizards logo on the cellophane that was wrapped around the box. I mean, that's rule number one. Is the cellophane correct, which it wasn't. So kind of silly, kind of ridiculous. I mean, whatever. Pokemon right now, speaking of Pokemon and splash damage, is doing amazingly well. Like, we're talking like Pokemon Go levels of selling right now for Pokemon the card game. It's just blowing up. So high five. I hope people are enjoying it. All right. Let's turn the corner here to the finisher proper. This past weekend was Halloween, a full moon on a Saturday night in fall. What could be more perfect for a night of frivolous frights and fantastic fun? Well, unfortunately, the costume pieces weren't the only masks that needed to be worn in 2020, which means that most of Halloween this year was Hallow-inside. Lots of Zoom-o-weens and socially distant Devil's Nights were held around the world, but I'm still feeling that itch, and it ain't the polyester from the Joe Exotic sequin shirt. So tell me, what did you do for Halloween 2020, Reuben?
Well, lots of the usual Halloween holiday hobbies weren't on the docket this year. I mean, bobbing for apples, haunted houses in those enclosed spaces, going to strangers' houses and accepting uninspected food from them, which is always kind of weird. But one remained the same. So I'm happy to say I performed my standard Samhain tradition. I put on my witchiest wardrobe and tore down all of those stupid premature Christmas decorations that I saw in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Christmas stuff's already out.
I hate it.
There's already like a station that's playing nonstop Christmas music. It's ridiculous.
Stop. Like, they've already breached the walls of Thanksgiving. Now they're coming for Halloween.
Yeah, I'm starting to hear like Black November, and I'm like, you stop that. You cut that out right now.
Yeah, just go
Erin,
back.
what you got?
Well, All Hallows Eve is most definitely the original Estrus time of year. So this Halloween, I put my cauldron over the fire, dumped in my Eye of Newt and Toe of Frog, and spent the night casting hexes on everybody who plays Containment Priest. Why? Why? Just
Why do you do that?
Stabbing the dolls.
Main deck. Don't even, no shame in it. Just running it.
Why are you like this? Like, God, I need to hide.
In front of God and everybody. Let me tell you.
You need to roll your windows down and throw it out.
Get your windows. Now look, when it's good outside, you get your windows down, you're rolling on the street.
Bless your heart.
Fantastic. Yeah. It is awesome. Well, look, let me tell you, I carved a jack-o'-lantern and I put out scary decorations, but it should come as no surprise that I did not open my door to the outside world on Halloween Eve. I rather instead turned on my TV and watched the scariest thing I could think of, the 2020 U.S. presidential election news.
Yeah, well, there's that.
That's the one and only reference. There you go.
The only one.
We're almost done.
But that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Reuben.
Stay strong. We got this.
We got it. Move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Reuben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, Twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMicsPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMicsPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week. Same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.